whom the gods wish to destroy, they first make mad. We must be mad, literally mad, as a nation, to be permitting the annual inflow of some 50,000 dependents, who are, for the most part, the material of the future growth of the immigrant-descended population. It is like watching a nation busily engaged in heaping up its own funeral pile. In 15 or 20 years' time, the black man will have the whip hand over the white man. I can already hear the chorus of execration. How dare I say such a horrible thing? Filled with foreboding, like the Roman. I seem to see the river Tiber foaming with much blood. That tragic and intractable phenomenon, which we watch with horror on the other side of the Atlantic, but which is interwoven with the history and existence of the states itself, is coming upon us here by our own volition and our own neglect.
By insisting he accept their lies as real. By insisting he was never to his people tied. By dictating exactly what he might feel. By permitting bawdy joy, but never pride. They believed a lion could be brought to heel. That a lion could from his courage be pride. That the lion himself would learn to kneel. That a lion would not care, even if his line died. That the lion himself would accept such a deal. In the end, it was only to themselves they had lied.
All right. The music actually kind of tied out to the start time, so I think it worked out well. Welcome to Stream of Consciousness number 6, is it we're at?
I think it's number 6, yeah, now in 2D. I'm glad the music cut off before we went live because I was doing a little bop in front of my camera and that would have been awkward.
I saw that backstage.
Oh, did you?
I saw it. I didn't
know you could see it.
Yeah. I need to get some more fucking songs though because it was starting to be
you do.
So I'm in the same three, but that's all right.
When I played that Enoch Power one again, I knew we were in trouble. Yeah, so it's been a pretty big week, huh?
Mate, it's been a massive week. Massive week. I'm just going to add Enoch to the stage as well. Enoch is one of our friendly little anons that usually jumps into the stream of consciousness. G'day, Enoch.
Yeah, just testing. Can you hear me all right?
Sure can.
Yeah, we can hear you, man. Right. Formerly known as Morgan, I believe, on the other stream of consciousness. We recognize your voice. Now, we've got some comments in already. Tommy Drown Under asks, how did you make the format into this, or is this also a YouTube stream? I have no idea. Brian did this today somehow using internet space magic that I don't fully understand.
This is just two boomers trying to figure out like technology, but so far we've managed to at least get 5.
It's working. Lachlan says, I'd like to point out that this stream has 3 times as many viewers as the version Brian is hosting, but it's combined, so it's one stream. So where there's it's not a competition to see who can get the most viewers. And Zinger, you should jump in, man. We'll send you a link. Just DM me. I'll send you a link. We might have a special guest joining who I've sent a link to. Possibly even 2 special guests. I've sent the link to a couple of current and former politicians who may grace us with their presence. Who are saying that they would keen to do a New South Wales special live from the Parliament dining room. So we're just waiting for them to join in. No, Chief, it is not an Abbie Chatfield magic trick. I wish we could get the comments on the bottom of the screen, like on the.
We can do that. Just sorry, I was boomering.
Okay, see, so we can do that.
Hey,
we're learning every passing minute.
This is how technology happens.
Yeah. Swing State wants to know who funds Abbie Chatfield, and he said Hatfield. I assume he meant Chatfield. I assume it's just bored, like couch stoner girls, which are a specific genre of girl that exists now, and they have
more money than you would think that a random stoner.
Yeah, well, those dispense
the vibrator marketing kind of angle.
They're the ones who buy that stuff. Hannah Ferguson, she has her own line of marital aids. Actually, Drew and I looked at them. We didn't review them, but we looked at them on a stream together a while ago. They look like they must work. I don't know. I mean,
holy shit! He's entered the studio.
Can we get Hannah Ferguson on the stream?
He's entered the studio. I'm going to add him to the stage.
Okay, special guest incoming.
I think we have the special guest incoming shortly.
Wait, it's loading. He'll be on his phone.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Unlike the cookie cutter podcast that asks for coffees and to buy their shirts and all that kind of stuff. We're just running this on a beer budget for
literally. I'm hesitant to show it in case we get demonetized. Oh wow, there he is. Welcome, the Honourable Mark Latham MLC, to our first video stream of consciousness.
Yes, well, congratulations on your new format. You've won Lotto and upgraded all your technology, or inspired by the Abbie Chatfield video, you've gone 3D.
Yeah, well, I thought I've been saying it's 2D on account of like the audio is one dimension. This is kind of flat, but you're right. It is nice to be here and live in colour. I can see you are on the New South Wales Parliament House smoking balcony.
I'm in the members' dining room, which earlier on to the table to the right, as I pan around, had what we called a solidarity séance, where Mark Speakman's supporters all gathered around that one table. And a leader's in trouble when they have to dine with their colleagues, but he was down here tonight just half an hour ago and I saw double trouble for him, because you'd have to say every second one on his table was inherently treacherous politician. You had Petanos, Duplicity Wilson, Coure. So, you'd shake the hand and count your fingers. So if that's his support base, the poor bugger's on life support. And our colleagues have gone to the upper house chamber, and I'm joined here by old mate Taylor Martin, who's come on in. There's Taylor.
Hello, Taylor, a great Australian patriot. Hello, mate. How are you? Welcome to the Stream of Consciousness. It's your first time. We're good. We'll have to get you on the stream. We'll have a lot to talk about.
That'd be great. Let's do it.
Yeah. Is it fun? Is it fun stomping it back around the corridors at New South Wales Parliament?
Yeah, definitely. And in this period with first-term Labor government, there's a few of us here causing a little bit of trouble.
But John,
it's not hard in that place.
For the simple reason, every premier in living memory's fallen on matters of impropriety, and I had a bit of a dirt digging scandal going, and I said to one of the senior Lib staffers, "Who does the dirt digging in Speakman's office?" And they said, "Oh, no one. They've got nothing here."
But it's such a fun job. Like, I mean, I did it for free. That's how I got the job. I'm surprised at that. Like, it is the most fun you can have with your pants on. So,
well, I first worked in this building in the same office as Bruce Hawker, who brought down more liberal, corrupt Liberal ministers, and most of us have had hot lunches. So that was heaps of fun. The things that Bob Carr encouraged us to do. I remember one staff meeting on a Friday afternoon. He'd say, "Look, we're up against it here. We're struggling. Greiner looks dominant. You get out there and do anything you can to get documents. Just walk through some government office and pick the documents up off the table and keep walking late on a Friday afternoon when they're having drinks." So anything went back then, but I suppose these days with cameras and surveillance and everything else, and I suppose woke caution about everything, everyone's got to be a goody two-shoes, then the fun's gone out of it.
Woke killed the dirt.
Oh, that's it. That's it. Yeah, they are super cautious. Yeah,
nice to all your colleagues, even on the other side, and
all the guys in there.
Like, it feels like the time now. It feels like the momentum's on our side, that we actually can, sort of forgo all the niceties, right, and just go in and fucking win.
Well, exactly. I mean, before this week even kicked off, I mean, Mark was already out there, stomping on journos' throats every time they asked him a question and just posting their stuff online. So, you're right.
I had the best experience ever. I was down at the Gulag of Racing New South Wales facing the Gestapo, and Brad Norrington turned up. And these people, for me, who I knew in Canberra, are like ghosts returning after a 20-year hiatus. And the good news was Norrington absolutely looked like death warmed up. I've never seen a bloke look sicker. And it brightened my day to see this person pursuing me for reasons, taking pictures of my house, some weird theories about my finances and all that. I mean, my conclusion is, if a journalist has got a serious obsession with you, it never dies.
Oh, no, never. Once they've got a taste for it, they'll keep coming back. I mean, it's all the negativity in these people's lives. It adds up, and that's why they look terrible. Like, that's why, like, the old mavens of the press gallery look like, a circle of crones, because it's just all that badness builds up in them, I think, somehow. But
just press gallery.
I'm not naming names, but you know which ones.
Well, there's not many left. This is the other problem is I've found that some of the old mastheads, they just don't have the bodies to cover.
No,
here, state politics, and the coverage in Canberra seems to have gone downhill quite a bit. I guess we all just have to go direct to consumer. Mark's pretty good at that.
It seems like an issue of not enough grunts, right? Like, this sort of ties into what we wanted to talk about on the stream. But last week, some of us and some of the anons in the big group chat, we were rolling out some stuff in response to lefties celebrating political assassinations, and we got some good content to some journalists who are on our side and who are really solid guys, but they're working in larger media establishments where the ultimate message kind of gets watered down. I think this goes back to what Taylor's saying, which is there's not enough grunts. They haven't got the support network anymore, right? So even if you're organising a big page spread about Hannah Ferguson's comments or Zali Steggall, celebrating what Hannah said, it just doesn't have the same impact anymore.
To that point, I guess I'm 34, and I reckon a lot of people are like me now. No, you don't subscribe to the major legacy media. If something's happening, you go straight to X, even Instagram, whatever your choice, and you get news as it happens. Sometimes with an opinion that you agree with, sometimes not. As you guys know, on X, you can find whatever is happening as it's happening, and you just get a flurry of different views.
Mm. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, times have definitely changed. What time is Parliament sitting in there tonight?
Till about 10:30 for us in the upper house.
Oh, jeez, that's early, you know.
Well, we're waiting around.
Is there anything left to do?
There's a dreadful bill that empowers bureaucrats to be the final determinants of your working with children check. It's the Gareth Ward Memorial Bill that's being moved, and it basically removes all rights of appeal. You want to coach an under-10s footy team, some bureaucrat decides there's something they don't like the look of you, you're too much a straight white man, you can't have your working with children check, so you don't get your appeal rights to NCAT or anywhere else, which seems to be a major denial of rights, and we understand there's some Labor MPs who kicked up a fuss in the caucus about that as well. So we're doing our public duty and waiting around to vote on that probably in about 90 minutes' time.
Right, so another Labor make work project because they're running out of other stuff to do.
That's it, and trying to think of other mischief, because generally here in Parliament these days, devoid of characters and flair and any sort of risk taking.
Yeah,
you've got to make your own fun. I mean, you've got to make your own fun in modern politics.
It's really just you, John Ruddock. I mean, Buckingham causes a stir, but it's not always the right stir. Oops, I just fucked my chair.
Yeah, he makes some kind of noise.
His Malat thing is weird, and
so what's that about? I must admit, I haven't paid a huge amount of attention to it. But
well, he says he told us a few months ago he had a dream one night, and it wasn't dreaming about
how a lot of my best yarns have started. Yeah,
he dreamt that these missing women on the North Coast were murdered by Malat, and then he just started researching and thought there was something to it. He worked John Marsden into it with the theory that the gay flamboyant lawyer from Campbelltown back in the day was still alive. He didn't die of stomach cancer in Turkey. When people went to that funeral in the Catholic Church in Campbelltown in 2006, the box at the front was empty. And he thought Malat was in a conspiracy with John Marsden, who was on the police board, to commit a whole range of unsolved murders. But Buckingham's not completely stupid or stoned or whacked off his head, because he worked out if you took Sydney's most notorious serial killer, Malat, and you combined it with Sydney's most notorious unsolved murder, the Wanda Beach murders, which, was the day that innocence ended. You couldn't send your kids on the train to the beach anymore in Sydney. Combine those things, you'd get some publicity. And he did, through some bloke wrote a long piece in The Australian, and that old goose Hugh Rimington did a feature on that hopeless new Channel 10 news program saying that Buckingham was about to bust open the Wanda Beach murders from the 11th of January 1965.
It was too hot to handle. He's been cut off.
No, he's still there. I think still
there. Just cameras.
Nothing works in the state parliament, including the internet. So that's why.
They've probably realised what you're doing.
Decent Wi-Fi, it'd be it. But
Buckingham got him.
Buckingham got me.
You're getting too close to the truth. Yeah.
He's getting. Well, we've already got the truth.
Minns is entertaining this thing. Minns is in some deal with Buckingham to get his vote. Minns entertains it at Premier's estimates. And Buckingham's got this sketch of some dude who was a person of interest with the Wanda Beach murders, and he's showing it to Minns, saying, do you think this looks like Ivan Malat? I thought it looked more like Chris Minns than Ivan Malat.
I saw that one, yeah.
and anyway, Minns entertains it. Imagine Greiner or Rand or Carr entertaining this lunacy at budget. Anyway, Minns entertains it. And then I went to police estimates, and they said that, he's a person of interest. He was there the day before at Wanda. So if it was Malat, he turned up on the wrong day. And Buckingham also had to explain how come Malat was in detention at Penrith at the time. So the whole thing is this crazy conspiracy theory, but in the Parliament of Chris Minns, desperate for numbers in the upper house, they'll do anything to jag a vote. And they've entertained this Malat madness accordingly.
That's like
he'll turn on him if he doesn't deliver, like the shooters are turning on him now over their hunting stuff, right? I mean, that's why you can't play these kinds of games. You just have to either deliver something that you can deliver or just let your legislation live and die on its merits. There's only two ways to do it. We learned that lesson with Barry O'Farrell when we tried to sneak things through. It never worked. So
yeah, well, O'Farrell burnt off the shooters on the same issue in a similar way. So it's repeating itself. And Robert Borsak has many great qualities, but probably the best is he's a magnificent hater.
Oh, yeah. He hasn't forgotten me either. He was putting Facebook posts up attacking me during my election campaign over things that happened in 2012. So,
I know he manages to hate.
He does not forget a grudge.
He manages to
hate just by association, right? So, like, he fucking hates me just because I worked for David Leinhelm, 10 years ago as just a random staffer. So it's just like, through pure association, it's like enemy number one.
They ought to have a club, the 20-year hater club. Norrington, the abominable snow woman, Borzak.
She's back on Twitter. I mean, she's probably blocked you, but I've noticed.
Well, she deleted that post though.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, so
she called Charlie Kirk Charlie Jerk.
Charlie Jerk.
Immediately after his assassination. With something he said about black people or whatever, but I mean it's a mental illness, isn't it? I mean, I obviously play politics pretty rough and tough and wild at times, but I've always had one rule, which I think is just basic decency if you can find it. If someone dies, don't say anything for a couple of months.
Exactly.
You might hate their guts, but at least in respect to the family who've lost their loved one, just give it a little break before you hop in. But
I remember
the left is just totally out of control, can't help themselves.
Oh yeah.
Politics is 24/7 addiction.
They're running around saying, "Oh, well, it's fine because Kirk was a fascist." He was like the most moderate, normie conservative you could come across. Like if they think he's the monster, holy shit, are they going to be in for a surprise for what?
Oh yeah,
but part of it's narrative control, right? Like like it's about they can't admit what he actually was. They've got to paint him as this extreme figure who, in some sense, had it coming.
Yeah. Well, my first thought when I woke up that morning and saw that he died, my first thought was that it would be a right winger, because in my mind, Charlie Kirk is a pretty moderate MAGA voice, and I thought, God, maybe it is a groiper or something. Like I was surprised as the details started to come out that this guy most likely has left wing views. But I mean, that's kind of besides the point now. What we learned from it is just the level of hatred that the left have. It's not reconcilable. I mean, maybe here in Australia where we are a bit like, particularly at the, at the political elite level, I guess, people in the actual jobs are a bit better to each other than they are over there. But to see just how the kinds of folks who go out and, protest and post this stuff online reacted, I think it's a wake-up call for a lot of people.
I think a lot of your garden variety lefties, whether it's in America or here or elsewhere, really do think that Charlie Kirk is the most extreme right winger, and as all of us on this call know, that's not the case.
Well, they should tune into this stream because we're going to get pretty spicy tonight. I got some thoughts.
Well, the comment on the screen from Tommy Down Under kind of ties into the first sort of theme we were going to go for the stream, which is cancel wars, the right strikes back. So, John, I'll let you sort of open with that, and then we can just start going.
Well, yeah, I mean, if the guys want to stick around for a bit and listen to the rest of the stream, that's kind of where we wanted to start, was how things went down last week. And from an Australian perspective, like, I'm not going to get into the, emotional, my God, we've lost Charlie Kirk thing. It is incredibly sad, but people way, more empathetic than me have canvassed it. If you haven't seen it, Sam Hyde did a piece on the Sam Hyde show, I think yesterday, that like eloquently sums the whole thing up, and I think how people are feeling. But feelings aren't my forte. My forte is the actual, scut work of politics. And the incredible thing that happened, like, and I was going back through like mine and Brian and our friends' chat logs from the like immediate aftermath of us all waking up and seeing it happen. And it is like 20 minutes between when the news broke and when like a global wave of conservatives and nationalists and right-wingers of all stripes around the world just had the same thought at the same time, which was, fuck you, we're going to get these guys.
Yep.
And I mean, I've never seen anything like it. Like, if you didn't know better, you would say there was some central organizing principle behind it. And like, some of the left wingers have been, spouting conspiracy theories about how that might have happened. But watching it happen in real time, it was just guys like us in chat groups as one saying, we're going to pull up every single comment these people have made and we're going to put it on blast and we're going to cost them their jobs. I mean, in Australia, the sad thing is it kind of reveals how far we have to go and how deep in the regime we live compared to the United States, where theirs is crumbling, that we really haven't collected that many scalps here. I mean, but, we proved that, you can make these guys' lives extremely uncomfortable, and we do at least have enough cachet with the mainstream media that when, particularly with their fellow journalists, we can get their names up in lights, and we can get the public talking about how disgraceful they are.
Well,
so,
on that point, John, just before you go further, if there's anyone that's tuned in that's heard of any New South Wales government employees that have put any of these views out, let us know, Mark or myself.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, we're on. Yeah, we're on a watching brief on this stuff.
They're on Kirk.
Well, I've got an ask. Given you guys actually do have access to the levers of power, you might have seen Marco Rubio and the DepSec of State have said any foreigners who have been out there celebrating the death of Charlie Kirk, we're going to stop them coming into the country. Well, there's a few journalists who are in Australia that were quite vocal in their support. The media's reported on it. All it would take is an open letter from the likes of you to Marco Rubio, and I'm pretty sure that quite quickly they would drop the fucking hammer on these people. And I know a lot of people will say, isn't that cancel culture? Well, one, yes, but it's a justified version of cancel culture. We're not saying you don't get to have a job because you have a slightly different belief. This is, you actively celebrated political assassinations and are fomenting the political environment for more of that to happen, and you need to be held to account. So if that's something you'd be willing to do, I think it'd be ideal.
Absolutely.
Okay. We'll touch base.
Take it offline.
Can I ask, though, what I think is the core question? What is it about the leftist mindset that can celebrate the death of someone like Charlie Kirk, who I didn't know a hell of a lot, because I take most of this stuff through my younger son. But watching all the videos available about him now, Kirk seemed to be a guy of unlimited patience. To sit there and for hours on end, take questions, prove me wrong, engage in a dialogue with young people is so commendable. To say to them, don't be afraid, don't be cynical, don't be skeptical. You can get involved and you can make a difference. And the patience that he displayed was saintly. So what sort of leftist mindset would celebrate the assassination, the brutal assassination of such a person? My theory is that if you live politics 24/7 and you've got no other interests like horse racing or family or pets or walking in the bush, or like John perving on Abbie Chatfield, then eventually it corrodes your brain. You can't live politics 24/7 because the whole intensity of it just completely wilts your values and your core set of beliefs to where you think it's justified to celebrate someone's death. You've got to stay in touch with humanity and have some balance in your life and other interests.
That's right.
That's my theory about them. And it's a mental illness on display.
Claire Lehman did a really good post, I think, the day after on this, on like brain rot internet ideologies.
Yeah, brain rot.
Putting aside like the reaction from establishment left-wingers to his death, I mean, when they started picking apart the accused killer's motivations and what his ideologies are, she kind of just touches on how these people are a total mess, like they're mentally ill. And I mean, a lot of what we see online, and because it's been put into our feeds, because it's got a kind of political
brain rot.
Yeah, these people aren't necessarily that left wing. They are just rotted in the brain. And like, to be honest, I mean, some of our guys suffer from this as well. I mean, like I see some of the like comments that people have been putting into the feeds of some of these left wingers. Like I always say to our guys, like, don't give them engagement. Like, cut and paste their stuff and take screenshots and tell other people, but don't engage with them. There's no value in just jumping into their comments and saying something horrible to them.
You're just boosting
they're monetized. You're just boosting their algo. But, some people just can't help themselves. I mean, on the real philosophical element to it, I saw a really great post the other day that was 100% right. I'm sad that it was one of those ones that flicked past so quickly I couldn't see who said it. But it effectively said that in the left-wingers' mindset, political violence is like a dial that you turn up in intensity. And it starts at saying the most despicable things imaginable about your enemies. And then like the next tick is, throwing a milkshake at Nigel Farage. And then it's throwing a Molotov cocktail. And then it's like the sarcastic violence of the weathermen. And then eventually it's shooting a man in the neck from a rooftop. And in the leftist's mind, like, you can turn the dial up and down. You can turn the temperature up and down on your enemies however you want to. Whereas in the right winger's mind, the reason why we have this massive dissonance and can't understand why they're like this is because for us there's no points on a dial. It's a switch. When the right turns to political violence, it's absolute. It's total war. That's what history tells us. Right. We've been sitting here for 20 years now, watching, globalist homogenization tear the guts out of our society and deracinate our culture. And and despite their accusations about, whatever marginal case they can think of, or January 6th or whatever, the right wing as an institution or as an establishment has never turned to violence. The last time we turned to violence, we were funded by the CIA, and it was in Argentina and Chile, right? That's what right-wing violence looks like. And we're on just two completely different wavelengths, where to the left, it's, this thing they can turn the temperature up and down on, depending on who's in power and what they can get away with. But we just don't think like that. And I think that's the disconnect between us, because we're sitting there seeing what they're doing, thinking, well, and like what so many commentators have said is like, well, this is the line in the sand. This is how it starts, their conduct. Because we just think so differently to them. And I don't know how we overcome that.
Well, I just wonder also about the left. Are they victims of their own intellectual framework?
Yes.
If you can call it that. If you truly believe that words are violence, which is sort of the recent approach over the last 20 years they propagated, that you need you're triggered and you need a safe space because someone's words are the equivalent of violence. Well, you obviously do believe that Charlie Kirk is a violent person. And the violence
and they do.
Real violence, shooting him in the neck, is somehow justified in return. So
this is once
you ratchet down, and the Left Project is about redefining everything about our lives, words, language, values, habits, thoughts. So once you redefine words as a form of violence, then anything goes. I think that's they're victims of their own propaganda.
It's interesting watching the freak out though, because the right's response has been very limited and very targeted, right? Only to people who have actively sort of celebrated political assassinations or actively called for it, right? They're not trying to cancel people who disagree with them politically. They've barely had time to organize. Like this was, as John said before, this is just stuff that was discussed in some group chats, sent to a couple of journos, and away you went. And the freak out that is coming from the left, who've set this precedent. They've created the sandbox, and the right have woken up and gone, okay, well, let's just play in it, but in a very limited way applied to these specific things. And they are having a meltdown. So I think for a lot of people who are watching at home, this is a proof point that the right sort of is ascendant, and that if we do just unite and stop, punching right and punching within ourselves and actually just work together, we can crush these people. And I mean politically, just for any journos watching at home.
Yeah. And there are unquestionably journos watching. Hi, guys.
I mean, I do wonder, though, like, let's say somebody in the left was assassinated, like purely as an example, like let's say AOC was suddenly killed, right?
Yeah.
Would we be sitting here going, that's terrible, but then there would be some right-wingers celebrating it online, making us look like tools? Like,
well, I think the difference is
the moderate left at the moment. They're going, who are these crazies who are celebrating?
I think the difference here is that most right wingers would disavow that. But sure, you might get a schizo online, but we're not talking about that. We're talking about federal MPs liking content. We're talking about journalists who have presented at the National Press Club saying things like, is violence sometimes necessary? Yes. That's a totally different kettle of fish to shoot all lefties groiper on X, right? Like
the other thing is how the left and the right consume media, and like how we used to consume the mainstream media and now how we consume online media is again totally different from the left, because right wingers support, whether it's a influencer or whatever content creator or journalist, the support is generally because you are seeking a third party to endorse the position that you already have, right? So if you look at Australia at who the biggest kind of, we'll debate their efficacy, but the conservative streamer community. So your Avi Yemenis from Rebel and Rokshan and Joel Jamal. What all those guys have in common, right? They're all ethnic. They don't look like Brian and I, and they don't look like you in the audience. Why is that? Why do conservatives in Australia tune into them? It's because they want a third party to endorse the things they already believe. Because when they see Joel or Avi or Rukshan repeat the things they already believe back to them, they say to themselves, well, if that guy agrees with it as well, then it must be true. It's the same logic that made Tucker Carlson so successful, because the guys who watched Tucker Carlson had dirt under their fingernails and lived in trailers. And when Tucker would talk about things that they were already reading online, they go, look at this Tweedy Princeton nerd. He thinks the same things I do. That's how we consume media. The left tune into people to be told what to think. And so all it takes, and what's happened with the Charlie Kirk thing, is that these key influential figures on the left have been, done the kind of irony posting and said the abhorrent things. And it's just given permission to all of their followers to do the same. And as far as they're concerned, it's okay. If it happened, if it was flipped, and I can't think of a left-wing streamer as prominent as Charlie Kirk, but I don't know, like say like Henk, what's the guy's name? Cenk, or
Cenk.
I don't know, Destiny, or what's his
Hassan,
right? Say it happened to them on the right, like you're right, we would have, anons without PFPs saying gross stuff, but we would also have our influencers saying, no, that's not cool. But we would all also say it's not cool, because we don't just do whatever our influencers say. Hence why you have things like the Groiper Wars, why the community split between Fuentes and Charlie Kirk. Why some people prefer Sam Hyde to Fuentes and over Kirk and whatever. Like why we have that tribalism is because we are free thinkers on the right. So whilst you're right, it would happen, I just don't think it would be as endemic as it is for them, because the way we process media is just so totally different.
Well, if it was going to happen, you would have seen, the Fuentes sort of Groiper guys dancing on Kirk's grave, and they didn't, right? They came out and they said that this is unacceptable, that this is not, what Christian people do, and that that the people that have done this need to be disavowed, and the people that celebrate it needed to be disavowed. And this is from a group of people that hated everything Charlie Kirk pushed, because they viewed him as too soft or too middle of the road. So I think going back to exactly right. So I think going back to Enoch, formerly Morgan's point, sure. If a left winger was attacked, you might see some online schizo celebrate it, but the overwhelming majority, I think, would disavow, and more importantly, you wouldn't see it from established journalists and elected MPs. We're just, I'm sick of both sides in this crap. We are different people, and I think that we're better.
We also, it goes back to the age-old difference that on the right we actually truly do value each individual and the individual, whereas on the left it is about groups and collectivists. So for them, one of the opposition got hit. Whereas we all see people as individuals. So if one of our opponents, God forbid, if something was to happen, we would say it's sad that something happened to that person. Whereas real extreme lefties just see it as a us versus them mentality that we just don't have.
Well,
and our guy, no, you go.
I actually think that's kind of where this came from. Is like there was like a Schmittian distinction that the left understood, and they went, if you're our enemy, we're just going to say you're the worst thing. And they've kind of upped the rhetoric for 10 or 20 years. And for most of them, the strategy there was, well, we can just shut up our opponents. Like we can just silence them.
Yeah.
But one of the side effects is if you call people like Charlie Kirk Nazis and hateful and stuff is that he gets stochastic violence at the edges, and like it's actually like an outgrowth of like a phenomenon that a lot of them have participated in. Like Ezra Klein wrote this really conciliatory piece, like, you know, the kind of thing that you should write. But if you look at his last podcast, he was calling Trump like an authoritarian ready to take over in his position so that the Democrats could oppose funding the government. But basically, he was like sky high on the rhetoric. Like,
I think it has been a wake up. It has been a wake up call for some of their guys, though. Like some of them definitely, and it's definitely been a wake up call for some of our guys. And when you look at the Australian kind of political content community and what's happened in the last few days, I mean, I think for a lot of guys, it's brought home the fact that shit, some schizo could plug me as well. You know, I mean, some people take that to an extreme, like Drew Pavlou. I think he's terrified of it. I mean, Avi Yemeni is begging for donations for more bodyguards. But I mean, Friendly Geordie's piece on this is absolutely fantastic. I mean,
I haven't seen it yet,
Matt Fournier was sharing it the other day. It's been shared by all the big like US streamers, and they've said, "Hey, this guy's on the left. He's a Labor guy, but geez, watch this because he really nails it." And Friendly Geordie's just absolutely cut to the core of it. And the thing about Friendly Geordie's is a guy firebombed his house. So you know,
John,
he's.
Did you say Avi Yemeni asking for donations off the back of this?
Yeah, he wants for bodyguards. He's just travelled to Israel as well, so I don't know. I don't know what.
Well, that was his first reaction, was to ask for money off the back of this.
Yeah, he's had it on his videos for ages. So when he puts everything up, he says, "Yeah, he needs security." Because remember, he was at the march as well, the UK march, and he got accosted by two white nationalists. We're going to talk about the various marches and our own September 13th thing later. But you can see even in the comments, like our guys like Friendly Geordies too. I mean, you know, our people are smart enough to, you know, see people's content for what it is and not just label someone as a communist, whatever. I mean, some of them obviously are communists, but you know, we can tell the difference between someone who's earnest and someone who's not.
Well, just to sort of talk about our guys, I've been keeping a couple of comments up here for a while without cycling. Like Ben's in the chat saying, you know, the difference is we clearly do not condone these things. And if our guys were celebrating, we would tell them this is not the way, which is absolutely correct. And then Tommy from Down Under, you know, 2 Minnesota politicians were shot dead. I didn't see anyone of significance on the right celebrating their deaths. So just to go back to the point, we're not like these guys. We're not like these left-wingers. We are different people. So I just, the both sidesing argument doesn't stack up for me.
The big challenge for everyone going forward that I think everyone is stepping up to at the moment, but you know, the big worry is like what happens next is to not allow people to use this as an excuse to kind of divert or deride people from seeking political solutions and continuing to debate our opponents and, you know, seeking representation in parliament or council or just voice in the media or whatever, to not allow the fringe of the fringe to now turn around and say, well, we told you so. Politics doesn't work. If you try and debate people, they'll shoot you in the neck. That's the big challenge. And like some, you know, Australian political identities have made that point in the last couple of days. And thankfully, I don't think it's gotten much cachet. But I mean, certainly from my perspective, as someone who, if you've been listening to these streams or watching me on podcasts and stuff, this is what I've been banging on about for a few months, is that this is the defining difference in right-wing politics between the people who want a political solution and the people who don't. Like, as bad as it is what's happened in the US, and as, you know, pointed and at times hysterical the debate is becoming, you know, you can't lose sight of that need for a political outcome. And, you know, the last thing you ever want to do, the thing that if you want to talk about cancellation, like what really cancels you, what takes you off the political battlefield and puts you on a literal one, is seeking a non-political solution, seeking violence. And that's the message we have to keep reiterating, that no matter how bad these guys get, we're going to step up our game on the rhetoric. We're going to step up our game on, the political attack and how we attack them. Yep. But we're never going to climb onto a rooftop with a sniper rifle. That's never going to happen.
Thanks for having us. I think we've got to go to a division shortly. But
thanks, chaps.
We're not winning, but you'd rather be us.
Yeah.
No worries, guys.
Right. Cheers, guys.
Thank you for jumping on to our premiere of Stream of Consciousness in 2D.
Love the new look.
Thanks guys.
Mate. See you in the next one. How good.
That was cool. There we go.
That was cool.
We're just kicking goals on day one.
Well, we're almost at 1,200 viewers at the moment, which is great. So I think this makes
it huge, which is awesome. Yeah.
Fucking Sky News.
I feel like I'm just going back through the comments to see what we've missed. I mean, look, I think everyone's on the same page on the Charlie Kirk stuff, and I don't have anything particularly controversial to add to it that hasn't already been said. And there's one thing that was just abundantly clear from watching the content this week is that, man, some other people have said it so much better than any of us ever could. Oz Schizoid just said, get Geordies on the next one. We definitely should. He'd probably come on.
Yeah, we should.
Actually,
we should.
Yeah.
I've ever since that. Who's that other guy? Punters Politics. Ever since he, rocked up online, I've just been sitting there pining for Geordies to just make his great comeback and just blow these fuckers out of the water.
Oh, I know, right? Like, I mean, the thing is, though, like, Geordies has kind of transcended a little bit. Like, Geordies, I mean, you've got the mainstream media, and then you've got, the shit we're doing right now with a taped together stream. Australia's least monetized political content.
Yeah.
But Friendly Geordies is like right in the middle. I mean, he's almost to the point. Like, if you were just sitting there scratching your head going, why doesn't that guy have a TV show? Like, if he had a TV show, we'd all tune in. So, from the left and the right, it would be the biggest political, piece of political programming in the country. But yeah, he's just kind of in the middle of the pack on that. So, I mean, Punters Politics and those guys, they're not on his level. I mean, he'll do 1 million views quite reliably. Piranical says you converted me from a CivNat. I'm glad. That's what we're doing. There will be no CivNats left in the.
But what to is the question.
Yeah, what to? well, the left kept saying that they kept calling Charlie Kirk a fascist. So we're sitting there going, really? Because it can get worse.
Yeah, like if you think that guy's bad, holy shit, are you in for a surprise.
Welcome to the new right, Piranical. Piranical is a fantastic guy, by the way. I'm going to give him a shout out in the chat. Actually, massively helped me on my election campaign. Made my cool logo. My logo with a little line on it. That was him. So thank you,
Adam's
Piranical.
asking, why is this not monetized? Mate, I don't know. I don't know, John, how you feel about this, but it kind of leaves a weird bad taste in my mouth. Like the whole point.
There's a really weird bad taste in your mouth. And I set up my Substack last week purely because, well, it was for a stupid reason initially that I haven't followed through on yet. So I give you guys a preview of something here exclusively. But do you remember I did that post maybe about 2 or 3 weeks ago? The year is 2040 and like everything was fine. It was like the white pill post. So I got drunk that night and was sitting in bed and I just kept writing it like a whole like fictional universe where we just kept winning and there were cloned like megafauna that we could hunt and everyone's AI girlfriends could talk to each other. Like it was kind of funny. I thought it was funny. And so I created the Substack to post that. But then when I sobered up, I realized that was stupid. So the only reason I used it was to post that thing I did about, why you should quit the Liberal Party and what happens next. But then when I made it, I was just like doing it lazy. I didn't realize that you could buy like a $100 founder's subscription to it. And someone bought one. So I don't know which one of you it is. I did try to message him on Substack in case he wanted the money back, in case it was a mistake. But a guy paid $100 for that. So I was like, fuck, I got to write stuff now. So at least, and now like a bunch of other guys have subscribed to it. So I now have a responsibility to provide like at least $100 worth of content on that platform. But I mean, on stuff like this, like Brian and I don't do this for money. We have other sources of money, modest ones, but we're doing this because we love our country and we're trying to fix it by shitposting and talking trash on the internet in the middle of the night.
And I think, I mean, my aim is to prove that posters are in control, and the last few weeks, I think we've been proving that.
Yeah. Seb, you know what? I'm going to do it. I might do it tomorrow, but I might make it subscribers only just to fuck with people. I am never going to do the subscribers only Bruce Lehrman story. I've decided my lawyers have advised against that. But yeah, I might post the fanfic later. You're right, Rangry Rang. We are going to get tired of winning. The next topic for tonight was the Hastiewave 2.0. It would have been actually good to get Taylor's opinion on that because I know he's plugged into this stuff. So Hasty's back again. Like, Brian, what's your intel? What are you hearing about Hasty?
Look, I think that it's on a lot faster than we expected. I thought that the aim would be probably, the aim from the right and the Hasty right would be to just wait for Susan to, naturally just keep crashing and burning, and then, that might take 6 to 12 months. But I think things are happening faster than they expected. So Hasty's starting to chat out, and he's, making the right noises. I'm not full Hasty pilled. I know that some guys are. That's not a slight on him. I've seen this all before, only to be disappointed. Where the right noises are made in order for someone to become opposition leader, or the right noises are made in opposition. Then they get into government and just completely throw it all aside. So, quietly. Look, I'm somewhat optimistic. I hope that Hasty is true to his word on the things that he's, signaling on, and I think that a lot of this has happened because really it's off the back of the Jacinta Price stuff, right? Like, that was a massive miscalculation by Susan. She then fucking just completely blew herself up in the public eye, alienated a lot of sort of boomer conservatives, and Hasty and the people around him keeping an eye out. And I think that they're just sensing that there's something that can be done.
My big concern over Hasty, like I don't know him at all. I've only ever met the guy once, but just from talking to people around him and just getting the lay of the land from staffers and stuff that are in there. Okay, say he pulls this off. And the intervention today by John O'Doniam, who, Jono's not necessarily to my political tastes, but he is, I definitely respect him. I've known him since I was like fucking 17, because he's from down here in Tassie. He came in today really strong on the net zero stuff, which if you follow my Substack, I did a whole piece today on why it's dumb. But when he did that, I mean, I actually was thinking about the numbers and realized, well, actually, he's potentially a tiebreaker. I'm not sure. Do the senators vote for the lower house leader of the opposition?
They can all do it in party room.
Yeah. So, I mean, already, Hasty's looking pretty good, I think. Assuming all Taylor votes go to Hasty, which we can't necessarily assume. But my big concern is, so let's say he does it. Let's say he spills and he gets it. Who the hell is going to be on his front bench, right? Because it's nothing but moderates in there. I mean,
it's nothing but moderates, and there's fuck all MPs left. So how does it work?
So it's going to be Andrew Hastie is going to be the leader of the opposition in a moderate party room with a moderate shadow cabinet. So what the fuck does he do? We've been down this road before with base Dutton, who then came up with this timid 25% immigration cut and a fuel excise cut. Yeah. And the ludicrous, Star Wars nuclear reactor policy, which, no one could see how he was going to do it. So I just think Hasty's in an even worse position because, unlike Dutton, Hasty doesn't have that kind of inbuilt authority as an existing factional leader with numbers. Hasty is, at the end of the day, a WA guy, right? The time difference between WA and Canberra might as well be 4 years in terms of influence. It's why, Julie Bishop could never get anywhere unless it was given to her on a silver plate. The WA guys just don't have that much kind of clout. So,
well, I guess I do think a question for people who are really in the guts of this is, when was the last time? Some of you'll be in there. Yeah, and when was the last time a Liberal leader that wasn't from New South Wales became Prime Minister?
Liberal leader.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good question. Fraser. Oh, wait, was Fraser Victoria?
I can't remember. Like,
I don't know. Maybe. I think he might have been.
Like this is the thing, right? Is that the power structures beyond the polling and the votes and the support, they're all sort of in New South Wales, whether you like it or not. So,
and to a lesser extent, Victoria.
Yeah. So it feels like a poison chalice to me. Look, he's making all the right sounds. If I were to pick fucking Hasty all the way, sure, but
yeah,
I don't know.
The single biggest advantage of Hasty is that Hasty. If I was Hasty's guy right now, the strategy I would be advising is, look, you're going to be a lame duck leader. You're not going to control your party room. You're not going to control the shadow cabinet. And you're going to have to suck an enormous mountain of moderate dick to be able to function until the election and have them not roll you for, I don't know, some degenerate like Wilson or something. So his only pathway forwards is guaranteed electoral success, and which is what leads Susan Lee into the Indians are the secret to the future of the Liberal Party kind of nonsense. But what Hasty can do is what a lot of people have been saying online is unite the minor parties, right? Because I could see a scenario where Hanson, Clive, whatever I end up doing with my little thing, every crazy kind of fringe party would just drop tools and say, if Hasty hits the right notes, if Hasty does something significant on immigration, everyone will back him. And then Hasty's going into an election, effectively in a coalition with minor parties carrying right now, it's close to 20% of the vote, right? Yeah. So
you're
now Labor
saying that he has the capacity to create like a giga coalition beyond just the Libs and Nats,
basically. So what he can do is effectively sideline his entire party room, sideline his entire shadow cabinet, and sit them down and say, listen, do you want to be sitting in opposition forever as the Liberal Party dies a slow death because of your incompetent left-wing state divisions? Or do you want one last rodeo, one last spin around the block in a com car? Because I can give it to you, but you have to shut the fuck up and let me parlay with Hanson and the right-wing miners, do something significant on immigration. And you're just going to have to tell your little mates in the renewable hedge funds that 2028 is not going to be your year. Short the stocks, right? Go to the short listings, whatever Simon Holmes Accord's back, and back the opposite, because it's not going to be a good year for you. But we can get back into power. That's the only chance he has.
He has to act like a king and not a manager.
Exactly. King Hasty. You heard it here.
Can we make that
the
thing? That's it. All right, all anons. If you want to see this,
all anons, King Hasty is the new line.
If you want to see the Hasty sort of giga coalition that goes beyond just the Nats, he's King Hasty. All images are of him with a crown.
With a crown.
But I agree. There's no such thing as a halfway king, right? Like if he doesn't do that, like what's gonna? There's no path to victory.
But you know what, mate? Like,
you're right, man. I've racked my brain. I can't see a pathway to victory if he does that. I mean, he's got the save the furniture scenario, because Hasty is a really charismatic guy, and he can bring people along with him, and he will be like just surrounded by these moderates. So, like, Hasty has the potential to just save a couple of the Teal seats. He could potentially claw back Wentworth by going on his Israel malarkey. He might have a shot in Warringah, where, the old guard out there who've turned and vote for other minor parties love him. I mean, they've got like Walter, as we saw we're going to cover this in MSM Monkey Business, but we saw in the piece about Walter Villatora and Turning Point Australia, right? I mean, they're all based out in Warringah. So, I mean, you've got these little elements that there's one scenario where Hasty gets in and he pays lip service to a few things. He maybe does well on some preferences, but he will be able to, try and save the furniture. But what's he going to do on the net zero
only
question?
Going to get you so far.
Yeah, it's just going to get you back. containment is only going to get you back to 2022. And so what's the point? What's the point of going to all this effort? Striking another blow on the Liberals as they, the coffin gets lowered into the pit. What's the point to just take their vote back to 2022 levels? No one's going to remember you for that. So, yeah, I think, the coalition of the willing is the only scenario that makes sense. And, it'll be hard for a lot of our guys, and it'll really kind of draw the line on what the real fringe is, because obviously there's going to be a lot of, right-wingers, a lot of nationalists in particular who aren't going to be satisfied with what that's going to look like politically. And, I'm not satisfied with it. I want reform. I want Trump. I don't want middle of the road. But at the same time, man, like, turn on the fucking news. Like, it's getting worse day by day. It is getting worse, and it's not existential. It's I might think differently if I was sitting in an office in Canberra watching this stuff play out at a long distance. But I live here. Like, I live out in the normal world. I see normal people occasionally, and I just think we probably can't get too cerebral about it. If there's a chance, maybe we should take it. Steely Dan Enjoyer just pointed out Jacinta Price should be involved heavily. I mean, you're right. I forgot Jacinta. That's probably Hasty's only kind of ally in this is Jacinta. Yeah. Ben just pointed out, well, I see Tasmanians. That is true.
Ben asked a question about Morgan, saying, how did Morgan become so... how did he acquire so much wisdom? So I've known Morgan for almost a decade now. I think a bit over a decade, and I sort of jokingly refer to him as our academic agent. So if you kind of think of the Lotus Eaters guys, he's our Parvini. So things are happening. I'm just going to go through a couple more of the comments. So
yeah. So look, I think that's my thing on Hasty. Unless anyone else has anything to add, I mean, I didn't miss much from the chat, but. That's how I see Hasty playing out. Like, I mean, the other thing, look, there is a third scenario that is too awful to think about that, and we should mention it just because it is Australian Liberal Party politics, and you can't always guarantee that the dumbest, most awful thing won't just happen. And that is that Hasty ends up like Simon Crean, and Hasty becomes the stalking horse on Lee, and it turns out that Angus Taylor is just waiting in the wings. And the moderates will come up with a bullshit position on net zero, and Hasty, because he's a man of principle, and also, I mean, the media are making a big deal out of this, but at the end of the day, he's a fucking shadow minister. Who cares, right? Like, it's just it's a job you could just performatively quit, and so he walks. There's immediately rumblings from the right about making him leader, and then Angus does exactly what Rudd did with Crean, which is just egg them on until you get to the spill. And then Angus hoovers up all the numbers because they're loyal to him and not to Andrew. And then bam, we have fucking Angus Taylor as. And
then we have an election campaign around how to make vague adjustments to tax subset 763-B on fucking tassel.
Yeah, and I don't know what else is Angus into. It'll just be the dumbest stuff.
Like, just talk about Oxford or whatever the fuck he does.
Rhodes Scholars, and he'll come up with a couple of dumb populist policies. He will somehow find a way
to make the populist policy awful.
Numbers. He will somehow come up with like some trick, like there'll be some whole immigrant cohort we didn't know about that Angus has already cut a deal with their central bank to have
I'm reducing mass migration from India and China. However, we're absorbing all of Papua New Guinea.
Well, it'll be like every Indian migrant to New Zealand can come over here or something. It'll be something so bad that we'll all just have our heads in our hands. I mean, that's interesting. That outcome is interesting in its own way because, then everything's on the table for another far right party. But I don't know. We will see. I'm just trying to stay upbeat, man. Just trying to stay optimistic in a very
I'm trying to stay white-pilled. I mean, I had a good day today. I didn't stub my toe. I drank water, so I'm pretty white-pilled. But anything goes wrong, I'm immediately back to black-pilling. I'll just go back to what we had. So Hastiewave, September 13 fails. Gee,
so some people kind of got at me on that when I posted it before. They were like, "Oh, what was the failure?" Like, well, I mean, come on, right? Like,
you had in New South Wales alone, you had the September 13 rally, but then you had the cookers cookout where the cookers couldn't cook food for the cookout,
which is a hilarious video. I think I have it. I'll post it. It is
so for those of you who don't know, Aussie Cossack decided that he was going to do like a freedom barbecue, sort of vaguely in support of some aspects of the September 13 rally, but also in as a counter rally. Except I think they didn't actually apply for the permits, so that the Cossacks cookers were not allowed to cook at the cookout. Then
it was pretty funny.
You had,
but of course, go back to the point that we made on the last stream. Aussie Cossack himself wasn't there because he's stuck inside the Russian embassy.
Yeah, he was just posting videos without a shirt on.
which we've covered. We're not revisiting that, and I've deliberately avoided any further Aussie Cossack. I didn't want to know what Aussie Cossack thought of Charlie Kirk. He was going to blame it on Israel or something, but. Yeah,
well,
Tricky for the lolcow.
Like there was this guy named Tricky who I'd never heard of before.
Get into that because that passed me by. I was doing other stuff. So
there's this dude up in Queensland who I think he's like back from the sort of COVID, pandemic protest days. But he's like he ran one of the protests up in Brisbane, I think it was, and.
Yeah,
all the footage from there is just a complete shit fight. So he had like a 45-minute speech. He basically denigrated anyone that went to March for Australia. He said that this one had nothing to do with mass migration. He then went on like a weird tirade about Palestine, but which even if you're concerned about what's happening in Palestine, wherever you fall on the spectrum,
I am. But
his entire rant didn't even make fucking sense. He then like basically berated people in the crowd, calling them Nazis. And then half the crowd left. So, just a complete fucking shit fight, right? And this is one of the things that we highlighted as our concerns, which is everyone. We always talk about not punching right. Everyone should go out and try and support anything that's sort of vaguely happening in the right wing space. So I was happy to say, get out to September 13. But my concern was if it's not planned properly, if the messaging is watered down too much, if you don't pick the right speakers, you end up with this fucking abortion that happened. And the flip side is that people have the risk of getting fatigue and campaigning fatigue, and they think, well, September 13 was bust. I don't want to fucking do this anymore.
Yeah,
and it's up to us to try and fix that.
Yeah, well, I mean,
it's a key principle that I'm trying to spread around a lot, which is that if you do something in politics and you ask people to put their time and their money in it, they want to see it make a difference. So you need to have a clear idea when you organize something. How is this going to make a difference? Where is this going? How can we show that to people afterwards? How can we measure it?
Yeah.
And then if you do that, people get energized. They'll come back. They'll be more than happy to deepen their engagement. But if you don't do it, all that energy just dissipates, and people just drift away.
And that's a really good point about the success of August 31, which was, I mean, apart from Melbourne and the chaos in Melbourne, is that everyone who went to those marches came away from it feeling energized and feeling like this was something important that they were a part of. And I mean, in terms of seeing the outcome, even the chaos in Melbourne, seeing it on TV and seeing the cognitive dissonance with the way it was covered, I mean, that was helpful. Right, because that catalyzed so many people. I mean, so many, and particularly the older people who weren't really that politically engaged that I met at the march, who I've talked to since, have said, "Well, I didn't really understand what was going on until I got home and I saw the news," which made me laugh because in my speech I specifically said, "Don't watch the news tonight," but everyone did, and then they watched it and went, "But wait, that's not what happened. That's not the character of it. I'm not a racist. I'm not a Nazi. I just want to see less immigration. I want my country to be better." And so that dissonance it's just enormously beneficial to the movement because you've activated people. I mean, it's just like with the Charlie Kirk thing, right? If you were sitting there, if you're a good Christian in the United States and you watched Charlie's content and you had the same kind of CivNat, I mean, Charlie Kirk's ideology is basically like Pat Buchanan for kids, Like, if you were one of those people who've never in your life thought of yourself characterized as being far right or a fascist, you know, to have the media tell you that you are, as much as it hurts people, I mean, for those of us who organize political movements, it's fantastic because you've just pissed these people off. You've got them further away from the mainstream media. You've got them closer to us. So, yeah, I mean, I'm excited to see what they come up with for October 19. I've been talking to the organisers down in Tassie. I don't know whether or not we're going to do it. I think we're going to have a smaller group of people meet somewhere privately. But, you know, I mean, I might even go up to Sydney or something.
We're going to run into rally fatigue pretty quick, right? Like, rallies are important. You do need to have a couple. They are a good catalyst for further action, and we're starting to see that. But we need to start thinking about what the next steps are. So, you know, there's going to be another one coming up, and I, again, fully support it. Everyone should get out there, but it can't just be that. And I'm confident that it won't just be that. Because, you know, I'm seeing some people in here, you know, already saying, you know, people are kind of getting worn out and fatigued and things are sort of too diluted. And yeah, that's part of the point of this stream, is to just try and keep everyone on message, get everyone sort of, you know, pointed in the right direction.
Tommy just pointed out Skull, who makes some great points on X, and I was going to...
Skull's in here.
Skull. Oh, is that Skull who just joined now? Hey, man, sorry, I meant to get you on when we were talking about the Liberals. Yeah, we can hear you.
No, that's right.
Look, I mean, the September 13th thing, it just kind of is what it is. I don't think there's much more to go on. I mean, Monica Schmidt's washout, like the crash out, was pretty hilarious. She's now gone back to selling crystals. I don't think we'll be hearing that much from her. And that's kind of the end of the September 13th story. But Skull, you wanted to talk about the Liberals. So we were going to get you on when we were talking about the Hastiewave.
Yes, sorry. I spent a couple of hours in the Carnegie Memorial swimming pool sauna. So just running a bit behind tonight. I suppose on the theme of general right-wing news, I had the pleasure of attending the...
Did we just lose
Skull? Skull, we lost you, mate.
You've gone off.
Is that better? Come back?
Yeah, it's better. Gotcha.
Yeah, right. Okay, I can't leave the browser. I'll have to know that now.
No, you can't. Yeah.
I attended the Moonee Valley Racecourse, which is a lovely venue for the Liberal Party. Really back to our roots.
Well, that's right. That's one of the conferences, right?
Yeah, State Council.
Yeah.
So we had the morning of the current state admin tell us how good the party is going and we should all vote for them again. Yes. And then the rest of the morning was spent arguing constitutional motions and procedural motions about the constitutional motions.
Right. Okay. Were there any good ones?
Really turning on. The main one was they were trying to make elections biannual, so a BGM, not an AGM.
Right. BGM. That sounds like something, I'm not going to say it, but it was an Abbie Chatfield joke. But go on.
Do you ever turn it off?
Later.
No, never turn it off. Yeah.
But I mean, what was surprising to me was like literally how many people were saying either new party or torch the place.
Yeah.
And that's coming from even, I don't know if you use this analogy, the people in the pyramid who, you know, are kind of on the way up, and they're just like, what the fuck are we doing here? But to be honest, I know you're a big proponent of a new party, one more party.
One more party, one more time. Yep.
Yeah, but I feel like if any state or any division of the Liberal Party is ripe for takeover, it is the Victorian Liberal Party. So, if there's anyone on the stream who, you know, you're interested in right wing politics, the party membership is literally dying as we speak. It is going backwards, and it's not being replaced. This is the time to join in, and like the place is a shambles. There's donors waiting in the wings. There's people who are wanting to support something different, but we keep getting the same kind of boring old conferences of debating literally powerless motions. So,
well, I mean, on the plus side, at least you're still debating them. But I mean, the ultimate failure of the Liberal Party is, where do these motions go? Like, your members of Parliament don't do anything with them, and you have no influence over policy at all. So you can sit there and come up with things, but they're not going to go anywhere. And there's no appetite from the party leadership to do anything. I mean, this is why, like, my vision for a new party is about you build it from the bottom up, with that total focus on, I wouldn't even call them the rank and file at that point, because the whole reason we refer to the rank and file of whether it's the Liberal or the Labor Party is because they sit at the bottom of a pyramid which has these faceless men at the top of. So, whatever we create isn't going to have a rank and file, because it's going to have a flat management structure, essentially, and everyone is going to be there talking about the policies they want, talking about the things they want to achieve, and doing it from this perspective of, well, if the things I say right now in a chat room could become government policy if we work hard enough. Whereas right now, you put in all this work, whether it's in the Liberal Party, the Labor Party, the National Party, or the fucking Cannabis Party, you don't have that feeling at all. Like, no. It's really just like, I was in this when I was a kid, the United Nations Youth Association. It's like the political equivalent of that, right? You're sitting around doing like fantasy motions, going, "Oh, well, if I was the Prime Minister, I'd pass." Yeah, I remember. Like, you fuck off! Like, you have no chance of doing this.
Who used to do sort of mock parliament, and then he became
it's a mock parliament.
And I said, "Oh, how is it?" And he was like, "It's actually worse than mock parliament." I was like, "Yeah, right, okay."
Yeah, I mean, at least you used to get laid at the end of mock parliament. Like,
yeah.
I mean, I know we went to the pub halfway through Ted O'Brien's speech. The number one message he wanted to drive home was that Australian values are Liberal Party values. So,
they love that one.
Therefore, yeah. So, I mean, if you do the math on that one, then we should never actually lose an election. So,
if they could just get that message out to the people, Jesus.
I know.
Why did you just say that on every fucking call for it?
Yeah, why didn't? Jeez. Look, it is a disaster zone. Look, I mean, I'm mostly getting frustrated with them in the sense that they still dominate the entire mainstream media. Right. I mean, look, as much as I have my frustrations with Pauline Hanson and One Nation, which I ventilate at every given opportunity, except to her daughter, Lee Hanson, who's a beautiful person. She is right. I mean, she's on a meteoric rise right now. They are doing spectacular numbers. And the extent to which that is because of, probably the work of people like us and every anon in this chat right now. But who cares? Like, it's working. Like, on Insiders on Sunday, no one mentioned that. They were just talking about, Liberal leadership speculation at this point is fantasy football. Like, who cares? It just doesn't matter. So, we have this kind of institutional challenge that these guys can't stop talking about the Liberals. And it's funny because when I was like in my early 20s working as a staffer, it was kind of the other way around. Like, I would remember when we won government in 2011 in New South Wales, like, we'd been in government for 2 weeks, and you opened up the Daily Telegraph and they weren't talking about, all the policies we were doing and, all the meetings we were having and the stuff we were getting underway. They were talking about Labor leadership speculation. Like, they were just talking about, what next for the Labor Party. And it used to be like that for a really long time because, I mean, at that point, the journalists were all like married to Labor Party staffers and even MPs. And it was just a natural setting of journalists to only ever talk about the Labor Party. But there's been a real shift in the last decade where now it's like the other way around. It's like they just want to litigate this case that the Liberal Party is a dead political project and the demography isn't on their side and it's all over. Well, we agree. Like, have Pauline Hanson on and she'll say that as well. Like, every single person on the right in this country agrees that the Liberal Party is a dead political project. So why are they still talking about it? It doesn't matter anymore. So that's the frustration. And like, I get what you're saying that, when they're in this absolutely weakened state, it would be very easy to take over. I would caution you that, some of the little wrinkles inside their constitution and the way state executives work
allow them
do make it very hard. If they got a sniff of a serious external right-wing takeover, like you would need stalking horses from the old guard conservative factions, and there just aren't enough of those guys anymore. Like if they got so much of a sniff of it, they just purge every single one of you, and it would have been a waste of time and effort. But
the first thing you'd have to do is like completely gut the constitution if you ever got into power into one of the state parties. But I suppose the immune system is very strong, and especially in Victoria, we had the Bastion saga. So now, it's even more strict. But again, they all look around and realise that every year everyone gets older and everyone keeps dying. The
only thing I'll say in defence of a Liberal Party entryist project is that an earnest entryist project has never been tried. And all what people have tried to do in the past is this kind of like Bastion's project, where it's like this sneaky, I'm going to get like 1 million Mormons to join, or like in New South Wales with the Nationals, with the NSN guys. Even though his intentions may have been pure, maybe no one's ever tried just getting a bunch of guys like us and doing it properly. I don't know.
But if
I think there's scope
like
for
you
it.
said, they'd stop you.
There was a guy about 10 or 12 years ago in New South Wales who was a fucking machine at signing people up. And he wasn't going around signing up Mormons or, something like that. He was just going out.
I think I know who you're talking about.
Pissed off. And he was a fucking gun. And he got so many numbers that it looked like if this worked out that, the right would actually, control most of the branches. And the state exec just changed how they categorize a new member. They just changed the rules.
If it's who I'm thinking,
and it's who
I'm thinking of, they kicked him out as well. So,
and he was a fucking machine.
Yeah. So this is the problem with
I
it.
think of it like a startup business, right? Like we've got some ideas. We definitely want to do things in a really different way. Now, if you were sitting around with that, would you go, well, what we should do is kind of pass the hat around and get enough money to take over an old and dying company? Like, I think no, you'd build it yourself. You get enough momentum, and maybe one day you just absorb them. And that's how you get the stuff they've got.
And that's really the thing about a new party is it's the new constitution. Like, I actually don't have an updated version of the Liberal Party constitution. I've got one from 2019, and I've got all the other parties' constitutions. Like, they're not great. The best constitution of any party, like with the most elements, not all elements, but the most ones that you want to actually emulate is the Greens, right? The Greens have some very appealing elements in their constitution for like a startup party where you want to empower the rank and file, and you want to maintain the most important element, of course, for us, is to have as big a tent as possible across, often not factions, but individual affiliated organizations who don't like each other but maintain ideological homogeneity. They have that baked in. That's how they can have the social, well, up until recently, well, not in Victoria, I think they do everywhere else, but that's how they can have socialists and kind of old school conservative conservation types and forestry people and people who birdwatch and things, and they can have them all under this one tent, just through this, process of consensus building and ideological reinforcement. Like, there are heaps of parts of the Greens constitution you want to steal.
They're a super successful insurgent party. Like,
well, absolutely.
Only party in this country that's won seats multiple times. Apart from Labor and Liberals, like so.
Yeah.
Pyranical's asking why would the person we were talking about before, why would he get kicked out if he was signing people up? It's very simple. He was signing up the wrong people who
he was signing up the wrong guys.
He was signing up the wrong guys.
Control, that's why.
Yeah, who risked turning the fucking party around. And
I was asked today, what's the difference between a takeover and just signing general membership, and it's whether they agree with you or not.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So
anyway, look,
man, this is the problem with
Party.
Fuck the Liberal Party. Yeah. That's our official position. That's the official position of the stream of consciousness. Hey, someone pointed out before, someone mentioned in the chat, they said Hold on, let me just scroll back.
We're closing in on 2,000 fucking viewers. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I know. Between both our here it is. Adam says, John, if you reached out to One Nation, surely they'd welcome you. You could create some change in the party, dude. Absolutely not. I've gone down this path before. I know some of the guys reasonably well. I had a relationship with David Oldfield. I knew some of their organisers in the Central Coast of Newcastle when I lived in Sydney, and I have made that approach, and it was made abundantly clear to me that James Ashby wanted nothing to do with me. And it probably has something to do with the fact that I have called him an alleged homosexual pedophile a lot of times online. But look, James, if you're watching, buddy, I don't take it back. But, look at, in the spirit of, with the spirit of Charlie Kirk, I say, let's not punch right and water under the bridge. And it's all bygones, except for those boys who made that allegation, obviously. But yeah, I would totally work with One Nation, 100%. It's just I can't keep my mouth shut, just generally, but I can't keep my mouth shut about how incompetent they can be sometimes. And
from what I've heard about how One Nation operates in New South Wales, for instance, it's very similar to what we we're just talking about with the Liberal Party. Like, there are people who are already in place. They want to do things their way. They're not interested. And I mean, with One Nation, it goes back to Pauline and her little clique, and it's total control. From that group. And
it's not ideological, and that's why I haven't said anything, because in the spirit of not punching right, I saw the press release today. I didn't say a word about it, but I honestly think that Sean Bell guy, that's a huge mistake. I will say this in their defense. Given what I understand was going on with the various maneuvers around which Queensland or Tasmanian candidate they wanted to parachute into New South Wales, whilst the branches wanted someone totally different. I'm told that the One Nation, what passes for their branches, that is the people who can afford to pay $40 to go and meet. They wanted the former candidate for the Hunter Valley to do it. And, this guy seems like a compromise. It's not Ashby, it's not Lee, it's not that guy, it's a secret third guy. So look, the fact it's a compromise, the fact that she didn't force in her daughter or she didn't force in Ashby and parachute them in,
I think it's still roughly in the right direction.
That's a good sign. That's a good sign.
We don't want to purity spiral too hard, and
no.
So yeah, I think it's better than the other options, right? So I'm just trying to be the nice little peacemaker here.
Yeah, I mean that's what we're about, right? Big tent, big right wing,
big little tent
that leans. It's big little tent with some fences in it and a cage, and some guys in a puppy dog cage. Yeah. So what was next on the list after September 14th?
Yeah, I'm just going here to
MSM Monkey Business.
Yeah, MSM Monkey Business.
There was a lot of it. There's been a lot of it this week. And we covered off on some of it with the Charlie Kirk stuff. But yeah, the Fin Review, and this affected me because the Fin Review is the only rag that I actually subscribe to. Going after Walter Villatora, who's formerly quite a significant New South Wales Liberal factional figure who runs Turning Point Australia, with this hit job about, can you believe that some conservatives run a conservative organisation? Come on, man. That was annoying.
The Stefano's a hack.
Well, the
Stefano's a hack.
Which was fucking.
He's just posted about Hasty actually. If anyone saw that.
Oh, has he? Yeah, I'm not even going to read it.
Calling him Marga.
Our flow.
We'll have a look.
Oh, is he? Oh, yeah, because that worked with Jacinta Price. Because the thing with Jacinta Price that the media proved is all you have to do is say the magic spell word. People watch too much fucking Harry Potter. He said the curse.
M-A-G-A.
Again. Yeah, and then you're doomed. It's like pointing the bone.
I know, right? But the De Stefano tweet that he put up the other day, which I just thought was fucking wild, was after the Kirk assassination. He was like, "Oh, there's people in Perth attending a vigil. Why would they care?" It's like, "Oh, right, God forbid Westerners care about fellow fucking Westerners
It just shows how out of touch they are.
Yeah.
It shows how completely out of touch. This guy had, like, his last 5 episodes of the Charlie Kirk show have a total viewership larger than the amalgamated Nielsen ratings in this country for the equivalent span of weeks.
Yep.
Right. So more human eyeballs watched Charlie Kirk on that show than watched every single program in Australia in the preceding, every single news program. I mean, we do obviously get like 3 million people watching fucking The Block or whatever. But yeah, like that's how big he was. And Australians watch this shit. You know, Australians were watching Joe Rogan interview Charlie Sheen while he was reacting to his death live. Like, the fact that they did not understand how many people knew who this guy was. I mean, and they're all saying, like, I've never heard of him. And yet but guarantee you, if we went back through their like media in their Twitter profiles, they've shit. The Turning Point is a meme. Like, it's a meme format. How did you not know where that comes from? So, God, man, I just could not believe how
it seemed
massively
just
out of touch
disingenuous, right? Because like I haven't had a look through his profile, but I guarantee he'll be talking about some, foreign conflict or some issue thousands of miles away. But for some reason, when it came to, a fellow Westerner getting fucking slaughtered, oh no, why would Australians care about this? That's in America. It seemed disingenuous and it seemed vicious to me.
Oh, yeah, it was like deliberate. It was like deliberately putting down this thing that half their audience likes, which is the thing I find unbelievable. And this goes to show how contemptuous they are. And as they're dying, as the Australian mainstream media lays dying, they just have this utter contempt for the few of us that still tune in. And like, I mean, at this point, the only reason I tune into the news is for Alan Kohler's finance report on the ABC.
Because he for some reason, he's allowed to be somewhat based, right? Like,
yeah, Alan's getting based lately, but that's because Alan has like infinite money or something. He found an infinite money hack when he worked, when he was in finance. When he sold his media company to news, I think was how he made his money. But yeah, it's just the utter contempt they show for people.
Yeah, he sold the Eureka report to invest.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And that's his little retirement home.
Yeah,
but he
has,
which brings us to
he's got a piece of his son's money. YouTube channel, maybe.
Yeah. Which brings us to the one of the funnier media lolcows of the week, of course, which was Cameron Wilson. And Cameron Wilson, to his credit, he didn't crash out. He just, I mean, look, if I was advising him, if I was in his Discord, I would have said, hey, just ignore it, don't mention it, and hope it goes away. And it looks like it kind of has. So, but we never forgive and never forget. That's going to come back to bite him, I suspect.
Yeah, and I think, again, representative of like sort of the weasel mentality that a lot of these journos have, right? He wasn't posting this stuff super publicly. It was in a relatively private Discord channel that he'd set up, right? He's not posting this on X or on Instagram. Say what you want about Hannah Ferguson, right? Like, fucking disgusting what she said. She put it on Instagram where millions of people saw
she put it on main, right? And I think one of the things I'm most disappointed didn't get a run was that
I'm completely across this Cameron Wilson thing, but just for the audience, if you could let us know what happened.
So Cameron Wilson, if you don't know who he is, which we do have to. You're right, Morgan. We do have to do this stuff now because we are well past 2,000 viewers now, and I'm pretty sure that people who know like the internet sign kind of intricacies of Cam Wilson internet lore are probably very small. So he is this so-called journalist who works for Crikey, and
he's allegedly a journalist.
His main beat is kind of Antifa adjacent, right-wing exposés. And he doxed a lot of guys and he cost some guys their jobs for, the most vague engagement with some fringe ideas. And, we don't forget these things. And, I think in the spirit of what was going on with the Kirk stuff, when he posted what he posted, which was, an exhortation to his Discord channel to just basically say whatever repellent thing they wanted, and many of them did, we caught that and we put it on blast. But he then goes on he was on his Blue Sky, which I've been I've been spying on Blue Sky all week, which by the way is painful because I use X Premium, and you can do columns and stuff, you can track posts and stuff. Fucking Blue Sky has none of that. You just got to scroll through this swamp, and there's no algorithm on it either. So you're just getting like people who promote their furry fan art. So you're trying to find more like gross leftist posts, and then you'll see like an anthropomorphic wolf with an AK-47 and in like a homoerotic scene. Anyway, it got me off topic.
Getting a bit off track.
But anyway, so going through that process of spying on Blue Sky, we found this post from Cam Wilson where he basically said to people on Blue Sky, hey, it's getting a bit hot here. Why doesn't everyone come to my Discord where we can speak privately? So he was actually telling people.
I've got one of the things that he said. He said, I think it's reasonable to say that Charlie Kirk was more responsible than almost anyone for a political culture that we can assume contributed to his death. So that's one of the things he said, and part of what he said.
The guy who went to college campuses and debated trans kids and told them that God loved them and that told them to seek mental health support is the one responsible for destroying the culture. Like, I mean, this was the thing that outraged me most is that,
that's what pissed me.
You can't, they found, this is one of the things that annoyed me so much about it. They managed to find like 3 quotes from him, which were kind of eyebrow raising. One of which the veracity of, where he talked about the black people has not been found. One where he just said something like, I wouldn't want to get on a plane with a black pilot. And then there was like one other where he, where he was effectively calling for someone to be arrested. And that's all the evidence. Now, this guy was streaming. I counted. I've never really I watched the clips, so I never really watched his whole stream that much. But I counted, and this guy was on air for 16 hours a week and doing 2 4 to 5 hour public appearances that are all filmed and live streamed. And he's been doing this since 2015. There must be tens of thousands of hours of this man talking. And the only clips, those are like 3 clips that you can find to say that, oh, he's a bigot and he's a racist. A guy that the top guy in Australia's kind of nationalist influencer scene, Hugo Lennon, goes to the United States. I think it was in Florida or wherever he was. I think it was in Florida. I think it was in Florida, and he debated Charlie Kirk and went viral for calling Charlie out on not being ethnocentric enough. And go back and watch that debate now, and Charlie's there going saying, yeah, we're all equal, skin color doesn't matter. Like, this is the guy that the left want to use to beat us with and say, yeah, he's a bigot and he made the conversation worse. He ran a black outreach program through Turning Point for a generation of black conservative leaders. There are like multiple videos of him, I mean, of him attacking homophobes who came to his debates, who said repellent things about gay people, and Charlie calling him out. This is why he had beef with Fuentes. This is why he had beef with elements to the right. And you turn on the news and they're saying, oh, yeah, this is like the worst. This is the worst guy. This is Hitler 2.0, and I'm glad he's dead. Fuck you. And then they're sitting there wondering, well, hey, why are you guys overreacting? Oh, maybe it's because you called a moderate Hitler and clapped like seals because he died.
When he got slaughtered in front of his wife and 3-year-old fucking daughter, right? Like,
turned out that was misinformation.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, they went there. That was
okay.
Yeah, that's good.
I want to give an opinion on Charlie. I think we're going to see like the first modern martyr in a way. He like you said, there's tens of thousands of hours of his content of him speaking. He was young, he was Christian, but Christians love martyrs. True, and we have a regime who will spend the next 3 years doing everything they can to make it happen. So, I I never really watched him. You see memes and clips on the internet over the last 10 years, whatever. But the amount of normie kind of right wing dorky guys, moderates who are shitting themselves after seeing what happened.
That was the tone of his as well with the like the Christian martyrs who like preached to the Germans and got killed and stuff like that as well. Like it's like even just the whole thing of kind of proclaiming the truth and then getting killed.
I remember thinking about one of the first times I saw him, thinking that there was something very Christ-like about him, like the way he goes into the belly of the beast and has these debates, and some of them are great. Like some of them are honestly great. I don't think I never said like he fell off or anything, but I kind of stopped when his turning point really became like a part of the American establishment, effectively, and like this is why Trump is so agitated about it, and why the Trump administration is so agitated about it, because Charlie was originally a never Trumper who came to his side, and he kept the faith during the Biden years, and is chiefly responsible for a generation of young people who aren't like us, like on the kind of more extreme side of right-wing politics, of getting them involved. So of course there's going to be this outpouring.
Yeah, he ran the Young Republicans essentially.
Yeah, well, basically, like what became the Young Republicans, right?
Any young party in this country would be like dying for that kind of attention.
Oh, I know, right? And what's crazy is that, and to Labor's immense credit, I mean, they've kind of done this with friendly Geordies, right? And what's interesting is I think it happened organically, and Labor have, when they got a little bit of heat for it, they've backed way off him. I think Jordan's entirely honest when he says that he has no current involvement with the Labor Party. I think that's true. I know that he did in the past, and you can dig up my old tweets where I, found the receipts on that. But
he was paid by a union or something, wasn't it, at one point?
It was paid directly by the ACTU to produce content back in that period where he was interviewing Kevin Rudd, and he also had some involvement with Jodie Mackay in New South Wales when she was opposition leader. But I mean, I think
he
when they
believes everything he believes, like he is.
Like he's an old school Labor guy. Like he's the last Labor right man in the country, basically, because God knows their elected representatives aren't. If there was even a single ALP guy in Parliament like friendly Geordies, I'd be saying, "Fuck, we should just vote for them," because that's. I mean, like when I keep saying that. A turnaround in Labor right is the only chance we have of, getting any action on immigration without a new party. Like it's people like Jordan who would do it, but I don't know. They stopped doing it. I mean, he could have been Charlie Kirk for Labor in Australia, but I think there was this kind of reticence to be involved and to have an influencer, and like our political leaders can't get it into their heads that the media culture has changed. Like they think, they look at friendly Geordies and they see, it's like going on with Barry Cassidy if he was a twink, and they don't realize that the world has changed. Yeah. Twinks. I think there's unquestionably one out there. But so they treat these guys like the mainstream media, and this is how you end up with a farce of Anthony Albanese going on Abbie Chatfield, because he has a media advisor, probably one of those ex-Guardian journalists he has working for him, show him a stack of numbers, showing him Abbie's numbers, and he thinks, it's just like going on Four
Joe
Corners.
Rogan,
Because going on Joe Rogan isn't like going on Four Corners. Joe Rogan is a political actor. And that's the reality of the new media. You're not going on with someone who is an independent journalist to the extent that our own journalists ever were. You are going on with a political actor. So it's either an opportunity to go balls to the wall on your political content, or you want to do it to be seen to be debating from the other side. Those are the two speeds. The days of, treating a journalist like an ideological blank slate that's just going to ask questions and not judge you, and you might get to put your narrative out if you're good. Those are over. Those are dead. They died like 2 million viewers on the Nielsen's ago. And the journalists haven't realised this yet because they're inside and they can't smell the corpse rotting. And the politicians haven't realised this yet because they're stupid. Essentially, I was trying to think of something more eloquent, but they're just fucking dumb.
We often make the mistake of thinking that politicians are these like Machiavellian monsters that are just, organising to screw everyone over. No, 99% of them are fucking retarded.
No, exactly right.
Yeah, you look at the average state politician and you realise that, where do they find these people?
Well, they're the guys who didn't make it for federal pre-selection. I mean, this is why Labor does a little. I mean, this is one of Labor's strengths, right? Labor have a pre-selection process and they have boxes you have to tick, right? You have to have been a union leader, or you have to have been on local government, or you have to have worked for community groups, or you have to have done something. And you've got, it's like 100-point ID check. You have to get 100 points of brownie points before you can run for Labor pre-selection. The Liberals don't have that. The Liberals have how many mates did you stack in? Who are your friends? How much money do you bring to the table? Run for Senate, lose. Run for a safe lower house seat, lose. Run for a marginal seat, lose. Maybe you get a safe seat in the state as a reward. So the guys in state, the best guys in state politics today are losers who didn't get Senate, a safe seat, or a federal marginal. It's from the top down. Whereas in Labor, the guys, they've already won a local government seat. Their federal guys increasingly have already won state seats. And the Greens have it as effectively as mandatory. It's their pipeline. I mean, you get some rarities like the 21-year-old girl who just got elected. I can't remember her name.
I was about to ask about her.
Yeah,
Charlotte.
I didn't watch her speech, but Charlotte something like, there's enough going on. I'm not going to devote my limited attention span to what a 21-year-old, lucky dip candidate says in the Senate.
You've got Abbie, mate. Don't cheat on her.
Got Abbie. Yeah. Well, I did. I actually said this, I think, the day Charlie died. When I read Abbie's comments, I drew a line under it. I said, nope, I'm not performatively simping for her anymore. The joke is over. I said, no, I'm done. But then she did the dancing video. I'm so fuck. I mean, I shouldn't say this because she doesn't know we exist, thankfully. I don't believe. I think if she knew we existed, she'd
get her on.
Say
get her on.
If we knew she existed, she'd do an Instagram
video
get
Abbie
about
and Selena on at the same time for debate.
At the same time, like we should host an Abbie versus Selena debate. What about that?
Let's try. Like, why don't we just ask her? Fuck.
Yeah.
But the worst you'll say is no, right?
It's easier to be honest when there's video, and because you can kind of like lean into the caricature of John McGowan when it's just audio. But I don't really have a thing for Abbie. I just think it's hilarious because the joke is that, I directed at the guys in the chat. You guys just have this reflexive hatred of her when she says something like, "Oh, she's disgusting." Oh. It's so I just have like an abundance of objectivity, and I look at her and go, "Well, come on, like she's not that bad.
She's not that bad.
She's just
like every
I don't
sort
take. Yeah,
she's like
maybe
every
it's
kind of
my
like vague lefty chick you sort of knew in uni.
Yeah,
right.
Like, that's the content, and so I did just kind of think it'd be funny to performatively simp for her. That's where the joke comes from. But I mean, certainly the dance video did make me reassess how performative it was because I found that I don't know, there was something going on there.
He's got it up on his other screen, just on repeat.
I've got it up right now. I've actually made it my computer background. She might get the prize of being the first ever 3D girl to be my computer background. Sorry, Marin, you're going. It's going to be Abbie Chatfield now. I don't know. I think in any other time, in any other place, like she would have been a great Australian celebrity, I mean, she,
we can save her. She we can save her.
Yeah. I get the feeling, her boyfriend's probably a cool guy, I reckon. Imagine the kind of patience you'd need to.
I kind of feel bad for suggesting on the last stream that he's probably put a lot of dicks in his mouth because he probably, he's probably a nice guy.
Probably not. Sorry, he probably has put a lot of dicks in his mouth. Like, you know what these guys are like. But see, you know what though? I was saying this to someone earlier today. The reason I respect him is because we were talking about that guy. I think it's like Ash Lee or someone. I mean, come on, what kind of a parent whose last name is Lee names their kid Ash? Like Ashley, come on. But we were talking about him and like the psychology of these like performative online middle-aged male leftists, because the joke is like I'm a performatively online right winger, but I have a sense of humor and I enjoy mocking myself and have a laugh, but these guys never do. Like they just have this total seriousness that they should be taken seriously, and they like go into women's like into their threads and they're like, I'm so sorry that happened to you. Like it's creepy and weird, but we were saying that in any like sane society, what these guys should be doing is artistic pursuits, right? They have the souls of artists and they've somehow found their way into politics. And they don't belong there. And the thing I like about Abbie Chatfield's boyfriend is he's just in a band, like, and he looks like he's a guy in a band, and he's the dumb opinions of a guy who's in a band. Good, that's the exact kind of person a leftist should be. A leftist should be a guy with the dumbest possible opinions, but who's day to day.
I just wish that like everyone could get along. It's awesome.
Yeah, like, and you suck if you don't like it. Like, I think that's fine. The people I have a problem with are the dilettantes who, have exploited the last 10 years of globalist homogenization to get political voice unelected, whether it's online or elsewhere. I think Ashley Guy is actually a business figure who somehow segued into it, and. They don't belong there and they don't contribute anything. They should be writing a novel. Have you seen the statistics on literature and how men don't write books anymore? Like,
no, I haven't.
No, men just don't write fiction anymore. And whenever I go on Twitter and I look at what leftists post, it occurs to me that the reason we don't have any great... Yeah, basically, that's all that sells. But I just think the reason we don't have any great male figures in literature anymore is because they're just all on X performatively posting about woke shit. And these men should be locked in a room on a typewriter making the great Australian novel like Tim Winton about how much they hate their dads.
Well, Mao had his book of quotes. Maybe we should do like an anon sort of little red book, which is just a book of like absolute banger anon posts. That we selected.
We had some great ones lately. I tried to get Zinger in here. I sent Zinger a message because Zinger's one of our great posters. I was thinking maybe for Christmas.
Everyone watching, follow Zinger3. He underrated account with some fantastic fucking content.
We have some amazing posters in Australia, and they're massively underfollowed. Like so many times, like I'll like something and retweet it, and I'll check, and the guy's got like 400 followers, But then like, I've talked to some guys and they've said that like they've been on Twitter for like 10 years and they used to have like 30. One of the things like, and it really like brought it home this week with the Kirk stuff is, as problematic as he can be, if looking back, the most significant figure in right-wing politics of our generation has to be Elon Musk, for the simple reason that you would not be in this stream right now. Brian and I would not even know each other were it not for Elon lifting the effective infinite shadow ban on right wingers communicating on what was Twitter. I mean, because back then, like you would never see like a Bronze Age pervert post in your stream, like in your For You. It would never happen, right? You would never see right wingers in your area communicating. Everything was being suppressed. And when he lifted the lid, like I was sitting on something like 1,500 followers for 10 years. And that was a lot for a right winger.
Yeah, I had like 400 years.
Yeah, and I got like 2,000 followers like in the month after that happened, and it just kept ticking up. And like what's fascinating is because I sit here and I got fucking suites of analytics. With half as many followers, I still consistently get more engagement than journalists who have like 30,000 because all their followers are inactive.
Those are old followers, yeah.
Yeah, whereas I know everyone above that 1,500 is an active follower who has come online since, the end of the shadow ban period. So, that's why I'm so affectionate to you little grommets in the chat. Because
Seb's asking what Zinger's at. His at is, where is it? It's at OS Zinger.
Did you, just on the changing of the algorithm, did you hear about the experience of Japanese Twitter users when they did that?
No.
Apparently they were all saying, Twitter's not gay anymore.
But yeah, no, I do remember that.
They've been pushing so much into the algorithm that it was just against the way that Japanese culture worked. Like they just turned off.
Having said that, I alluded to this last week, but the algorithm is still there and it does keep some things hidden. But the way that it works now is really clever, which is it focuses your For You page in on what it very accurately knows you're interested in. And there are whole worlds of Australian content out there that we don't see. Right. And I joked the other day about, the fact that there's a massive Harry Potter role playing community on Twitter that you simply never see their posts. But I'm sure they all see all of each other's posts and you never cross over into it. When Kirk died this week, I woke up and I straight away checked my Twitter account on my phone and was scrolling down and just seeing left winger after left winger posting bile. And these were Australians. These were people I knew. These were even some people that who followed me. And I thought that is so weird. Someone must have their thumb on the scales here. Is this kind of manufactured consent for what's coming? Is there something going on? So on my desktop, I have maybe about 40 burner profiles that I've made over the years, which are I've keyed in the things that they follow and the things that they like and the generated posts to represent different demographics. And the reason I do that is so I can click on them and look at their For You page. And I can accurately see, well, if you're a 25-year-old woman who, posts about The Bachelor and, wants to buy a Bez bag, what are you getting on your For You page? And the fascinating thing was when I looked through 30, 40 odd different profiles, different demographic settings, it was all the same. This was so pervasive. If you across every social cohort on the left, it was. I mean, I bet if I had a profile of fucking Ron Weasley, pervert.com, he would have been getting it too. The kids doing the Harry Potter role-playing games probably get this stuff as well. You saw people in video games communities posting about it. You saw people who usually just on my private feed, it was guys who just follow Carlton who were posting about it. And it just goes to show how endemic the problem of this attitude is on the left, that it wasn't just us. It wasn't just confirmation bias because we're in a political in an echo chamber. And that's what made me so angry about a lot of the so-called experts coming out saying, it's an echo chamber. That's what generates it. No, because it's not just an echo chamber. We're not just seeing this. Literally everyone is seeing this.
I think we need a Ron Weasley Groiper or Ron Weasley Pervert.
Ron Weasley Pervert.
I do know how to get into the secret Harry Potter role-playing community threads, but sometimes I like watching them. And I'm like, you guys don't realize we're here and we don't realize you're there. It's like being a ghost in a haunted house. It's like there's these Harry Potter ghosts that sit there and pretend to be Harry Potter. It's fascinating.
Chief wants us to have a serious conversation about Tommy Robinson.
What is there to say, though? I mean, I'm not a fan. I'm not going to punch right, but...
Yeah, I'm not going to punch right either. But look, you know what? The rally in the UK was fucking huge, and good on him for getting that together. Watching UK media and political establishment meltdown off the back of that is amazing because they know what's coming. But yeah, I've never really been a huge fan of Tommy. I'm not anti-Tommy either. He's just not. He's not my kettle of fish in sort of the UK right sort of space. I'm more of a Rupert Lowe, some of the Lotus Eaters guys. You know,
I'm a big fan of Lotus Eaters right now.
Yeah, that's sort of where I'm sort of sitting. And credit to Lotus Eaters guys. You know, they get along with Tommy quite well, and they obviously help him out with this kind of stuff. So I think they're a good example of not punching right and just working together when it suits and letting people do their own thing when it doesn't. But regardless,
the problem with
the rally was fucking huge. That's the most important.
Oh man, it was amazing. It was absolutely amazing. And I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if it was 1 million. Of course, the media said it was 150,000, but it looked like 1 million, man.
Yeah, it was fucking insane.
Crazy.
But even
we need to create like a website or
impressive.
something that does accurate crowd estimations, because like it can be done, like, and it's pretty clear they're going to keep lying about these things.
I don't know. I mean, but I don't know if you necessarily. I mean, I don't know if you necessarily need to like, manufacture consent through the truth of the crowds. I mean, because if the average punter sits there and goes, "That's not," the media says 150, but I could see and I know that it's 1 million. Like that's what's worthwhile. Like you want to keep eroding the credibility of the mainstream media. So I don't know. I mean, Chief has said some stuff about like Tommy and Zionism and whatever, and I just don't think that's a core thing. The core problem with him, like, for me, there you go.
Yeah, I'll just quickly say, like, it's been years and years and years where he's like a content machine. He's like doing the rallies, but where's it going? Where's it? What's the organizing principle? Like, where is the organization? And it's like we've just got these figures who just soak up the energy, and it builds their profile, and it builds them as influencers.
What is it translating
where's
into?
it going to go? And then also the kind of histrionic thing where he has actually basically organized to get himself arrested twice, and to go to jail twice. Like, those are complete own goals, and it's just like, it's just taking it a bit far.
But I mean, he's kind of like.
I don't know if it was Harry or Bo from Lotus Eaters who pointed out on X a while ago, which was, it's interesting that the resurgent right in the UK really exploded and took off while Tommy was in prison, unable to soak up that momentum.
That's a good point.
So I can't remember who it was from Lotus Eaters, but they were posting about it online, and I saw it and I was like, yeah, fuck, that's a really good point.
But he's very much a Pauline Hanson-like figure, effectively like a legacy political figure who's never been able to keep up with the shift in technology. And, I guess, he's the guy that Channel 4 puts on and says, look at the scary nationalist, right? When the intellectual marketplace has just moved on.
When he's like probably to the left of your average fucking tradie.
Yeah. Plus, I mean, he's become inseparable from what it feels to me like a archaic debate around Islam, not a debate around immigration. And a lot of these guys who get into we have to ban Islamic immigration thing, like they're all kind of falling for. Like, no, I'm not saying we should ban Islamic immigration because I want to ban all immigration. Right? Like, we've kind of moved on from that. The opportunity to get any social value from that was 10 years ago or maybe longer. Now we have to ban all immigration. So what's the point of having a little sideshow where you just talk about Muslims? I don't think it's worth anything, right? And then you've got the problem that, we can't stop people who live here from converting to Islam. The question of Islam from the right is not a question about immigration. It's a question of how you run the country and the values that you put out. And I say this on literally every stream, like, it comes back to what we teach kids in schools and the values that come through in schools through the bureaucracy. When you read the Quran, a thing that strikes you about it is, like, it's not a spiritual document in the way that the Bible is, right? It is a political prescription handed from God to Muhammad. It's their God governs them. And that's why they're so hard to govern, because in their minds, they don't need a government. They have God. How the successful Islamic societies, the ones that flourish and thrive, ones that figure out, well, you can't just have a government needs an executive. And so Indonesians govern themselves because Allah governs them. Saudi Arabians govern themselves because Allah governs them. But they've got a king. They've got an executive. Malaysia has, well, it did have a functioning executive as well. When Muslims come to a country like ours and they see the weakness of leadership, the weakness in our rulers, they say to themselves, well, I can already govern myself, so I might as well govern everyone. And that's where you get this insidious creep in power. That's where it starts with the call to prayer, which they barely even care about in their own countries. It starts with, putting mosques on every street corner when, their own Bible is pretty clear on the fact they don't really need them. They just need a compass and they can pray, right? These are all them articulating the view that they consider us weak. And so the only pluralism you can have with Muslims is with absolute strength, which is what Lee Kuan Yew achieved in Singapore, and which is why Singapore is a very successful, effectively westernized country with a massive Muslim population. Because the Muslims in Singapore govern themselves, but they are under no illusions about who is really in charge. So when you put out the, Islamophobia report, it's a red rag to the bull. The Muslim sees that and goes, well, it's just another example of Western decadence, another example of weakness of Western leadership, and the time will come where we will govern these people. So you don't need to ban Islam. You don't need to control or restrict Islamic immigration. You just need to rule them, just like they need, our government needs to rule everyone. But, the failure to do that is, Lachlan just pointed out, I mentioned Lee Kuan Yew, but this is the central problem. And Tommy Robinson going on his lark about, we need to control Islamic immigration, I just think it's unhelpful because that's what's at the core of it, is the failure.
It's a decade-old talking point. We're past it, right? And I'll never be able to denigrate Tommy fully because he has, brought people out and he has pushed the Overton window, and good on him for that. But
good on him, yeah.
The time for it's just about Islamic migration or Islamic population is over. No, mass migration.
It's all immigration.
It's a fucking mistake, and we need to put a stop to it. Yeah.
Well, guys, it is. It's 10 o'clock. Hours, we did another 2-hour massive stream. What do we think our numbers were amalgamated? What are we looking at? I got 2,100 on mine.
I got it's saying about 23. It went up to about 24 at one point. So we're sitting about 22, 2,300 at the moment, which is good,
guys. Huge.
Thank you.
Huge. Thank you for joining the first Stream of Consciousness in 2D. You're all
a couple of things.
You can talk about the format. It's got to be video. Clearly.
Yeah, it's good.
It's huge.
We've created a Stream of Consciousness YouTube channel. We weren't able to stream to it because apparently YouTube's got a rule where for the first 24 hours you can't live stream.
That's
But for next week we'll be able to stream there as well. I'll send around. We'll post the link to the actual channel after this. This is also being recorded as well. So once that's recorded and we end the stream, I'll upload it probably tomorrow for those of you who want to watch it again, or have mates who want to watch it. But it's been great. We had Mark Latham and Taylor Martin at the beginning.
Mark Latham, huge premiere.
Thank you to
Mick Madamus was in here.
Mick was in here.
We'll get him in next week to talk about who's a Cypriot, who's not. I'll get out the calipers and we'll measure some skulls. And God, my honest hope, is that next week is a much more boring stream. I kind of don't want.
I don't know. It feels like a lot's happening right now. Well, it'll be post backpack and post CPAC.
We got backpack and we got NatCon on Thursday. We got backpack. I may be going to Operation Firebrand, Australian Firebrand. Chris Covery's one. But he hasn't called me back, and I think it might be because I sledged him on Stream of Consciousness the other day. We'll see.
Well, I think you were fair, and
I was fair. Is he streaming tonight? Have you checked if he streams tonight?
I don't know. I haven't.
I didn't check, but Anyway, we'll see. I don't know. I don't want to be in Brisbane for that long. I got a lot of stuff to do. So
Yeah,
we shall see. And look, any of you guys in the chat who are coming to backpack, you can't miss me in a crowd. Come up and say hi.
Yeah, come say good day, guys. Be good to see you all.
Yeah.
And with that, look, thanks to Skull for jumping on. Thanks to Enoch.
Thanks for having us, gents.
Yeah.
Thanks to Taylor Martin and Mark Latham, and we'll see you guys next week.
See you guys. Bye.
See ya.
Bye. Well, it's just ending now.
Okay.